Greetings, and welcome to A Star to Steer Her By, a Star Trek podcast. I am the Honorable Jake, joined by
Chris,
Ames,
and of course, Caitlin.
Yes, quite. Welcome all to this very British edition. Yes. Right. Today we'll be talking about 2 episodes of the telly program.
No.
That is what we call it. Yes.
Star Trek.
Oh, I liked this at first. I don't know now.
The first episode we'll be discussing is the lights, I should say, of Zetar, in which our intrepid heroes are on their way to the Memory Alpha, a planet-sized computer that is storing all of the collected information of the galaxy and has no fucking shields. On their way, they encounter some weird shit. Some glowy lights in space. Not knowing what to do, they put up their shields. And they interact with the weird glowy lights. And the glowy lights glow and blind everyone temporarily, and except for Scotty's girlfriend, Romaine lettuce lady. She's eating her Caesar salad.
That traitorous bitch!
I know, right? She's eating her salad. No, she's not really. There's no salad. But her name is Romaine, which is weird. And she...
Delicious weird.
So the lights go into her eyeballs or something. And then her brain... And she freaks out. There's some weird shit that happens. And basically, I don't remember much of this.
It's better than silver contact lenses.
It was. I mean, it's basically like crossing the galactic barrier and high ESP, except that she never gets the superpowers. She just gets weird. Anyway, the glowy light cloud goes on to destroy the Memory Alpha planet. Total loss to the galaxy. Everyone's pissed off. Spock is inconsolable. They get there. They find everyone's dead and people are croaking like frogs. And also just croaking. And then they bring down Ramona Lettuce Lady and are like... you must know what's going on here. And she's like, I don't know what's going on. I couldn't possibly say. Ooh.
It's a good British lady impersonation.
It is. So anyway, we find out that the planet's fucked up. The cloud is on its way back to kill them again. And they have to beam up to the Enterprise. And then they try to outrun the cloud. And he can barely stay in front of it. And then we find out that there's something to do with a barometric pressure. And they keep calling her the girl, even though she's a Starfleet officer. And finally, they put her in the pressure chamber, but not before the aliens that are the Zetar take over her and make her speak and say that, we've been wandering, our essence has been wandering the galaxy for hundreds of years.
Looking for John Malkovich.
We're looking for our body to take over. So basically, this episode is a weird mashup of where no man has gone before, and the one with Zoltar and
Return to Tomorrow.
Sargon. Yes, it's the one with Sargon.
That's
It's basically the same shit. It was terrible. All right, carrying on.
But Scotty got laid.
Sort of.
Yeah, I was gonna say we do not have positive.
Okay, Scotty jerked off looking at a girl.
Yes.
Requiem for Methuselah. Biblical reference there.
2 of them.
Yes.
Really?
I mean, Requiem is a religious-y thing, so.
Yeah.
Oh, sure. I mean, I know that, but
And Methuselah.
well,
Even more.
Anywho, in this one, apparently
Wait for it.
Rigelian fever has broken out amongst the crew of the Enterprise, and they have to find the special Ritalin on the planet. So they beam down to some planet to get some Ritalin, and when they get there, they find there's a man. His name is Flint, Michigan, and he is born in Mesopotamia in 3834 B.C.
What?
BCE if you want to be PC about it.
Ah.
PCE?
PCP.
So, anyway, we don't know that immediately. Immediately, he just seems like a kind of a dick that they meet on the planet. But eventually, he agrees to give them the medicine. He takes them back to his opulent villa, where he has original Leonardo's and original Brahms manuscripts that Spock is able to identify, even though they've never been seen before.
He knows his handwriting.
He knows Brahms' handwriting.
Because Da Vinci and Brahms had the same handwriting, I guess.
And then we meet, the guy's name is Flint, Michigan. We meet Flint's ward, apparently, Raina Chapek, as in Carl Chapek. Mm-hmm. Hint, hint, she's a robot.
Spoilers.
Anyway.
Hot diggity dog.
We meet his robot girlfriend, / ward, who is a sexy lady that's
super sexy.
Very, very attractive. Very nice breasts.
Great dress, too.
And
great tits and great dress.
Probably a nice bum, but you couldn't really tell. Anyway, so Kirk naturally starts playing pool with her, and she teaches him how to make a nice shot in the pool table.
My right ball in your corner pocket.
And then they dance while Spock plays the pianist, and then it turns out that the medicine is poison, so they have to do it again. And there's a floating robot creature that's basically Nomad but different.
A colander.
Yeah, Nomad and a colander.
Love Nomad.
Nomad just has bad luck. Always merging with other things.
Kind of like Kirk.
So they figure out that...
You got his number, Caitlin.
So they find...
You probably shouldn't call him,
yeah, I was
though.
going to say, because he wouldn't take no for an answer. Jesus.
Carl, Chapek, and Flint. Flint, turns out, is actually a really old person who's never ages in the last several thousand years. And then him and Kirk have a fight because Kirk wants to bang his robot girlfriend that he made for himself, but he only needed Kirk to teach her how to love. But once she learns how to love, it conflicts her because she loves them both. So she
shouldn't learn from Kirk, I don't
powers
think.
off and dies. And McCoy checks her pulse. Fucking idiot.
Yes, he did.
And
he was able to ascertain she was dead.
She was never alive.
Well, that's
her bad luck, though.
And we get one last insult off at Spock before ending the episode.
Well done.
And that's what happened.
Yeah, I would say that
more
or less sums it up.
So
more or less.
Interesting sort of common theme, I think, this week. I think something that we can use as a jumping off point for a more general discussion is, loneliness. Because, they make this big to-do, or Kirk makes this big to-do in his captain's log about how lonely Scotty has been.
Aww.
He's like, when a man of Scotty's age, and it's like he's not that much older than you, Kirk, put it away. But when a man of Scotty's age falls in love, the loneliness of the years beforehand fall into sharp relief, or something like that. And then, fucking Robot feels lonely, flower dying in the desert or whatever. But then, at the end, Kirk, who apparently fell for her really quick...
He always does.
...is super broken up about it. And it just sort of occurs like...
I think he just had Rigelian fever.
Yeah.
Which I'm sure is just an STD from some whorehouse on Rigel.
Is Rigelian fever like some kind of horrible racist term for when you just want to fuck a Rigelian? Do we think, or
yeah,
the whole crew's got Rigelian fever.
So it occurs to me, like, when you think about it, does anyone from Starfleet, and we'll have to see this going forward with each series, but do any of them wind up personally happy? Because
that's a good question.
A while ago, we were talking about how Doc was so alone.
Yeah,
and like when we think about, as the years go on, these people, as we know, from the movies, all just sort of wind up together on the Enterprise for the next several decades, and as far as we know, never have any sort of personal fulfillment.
Well, Sulu ends up with a kid.
That's true. We don't quite know the circumstances, although the way it was presented in the very non-canonical novel, The Captain's Daughter, it was kind of the result of a one-night stand that he only found out about years later.
Oops.
Sulu.
So it's sort of, obviously the Kelvin timeline differs. But yeah, with the possible exception of Sulu, we don't really know, but like...
Generations, the movie Generations deals with this in a major way, because Picard loses his
Yeah.
nephew. He's very broken up about it and feels like he wasted his life in Starfleet when he could have been starting a family.
Yeah. But that's
Now
when
it's too late. He's old.
We don't really know. Like, certainly it's a bit late for any of them to start a family by, say, Star Trek 6.
Yeah.
And as far as we know, I mean, they don't say they don't, but there's nothing to indicate they do. You know, and it's just this... It was an interesting thought to me. Like, do any of them... You know, certainly Scotty, we know, never does end up with anybody.
It's true.
You know, we're not sure about anyone else. Certainly, again, in
Right, we see him in, what, DS9?
TNG.
TNG, okay.
You know, again, in one of the books, eventually Doc finds someone, but the books don't count. Kirk, again...
I assume Doc can go back to Natira whenever he wants.
Yeah, but if he does, that's never established in any sort of canonical source. It does just seem like all these people wind up married to the fleet or the job in some capacity.
Yeah. I remember in Paradise Syndrome, like, Kirk was so happy to be just running around in the woods prancing with Miramani and not having a care in the world.
Yeah. And hell, you go back even to The Cage and Pike.
Yeah, Pike
The
having
first
his
we see of Pike,
inner
he's
conflict.
just, super bummed to be a spaceman.
Yeah.
And it's this just sort of strange recurring theme. And I mean, from what little I remember of later series, it's just kind of like none of them have personal lives unless it involves other members of Starfleet. And those don't always end well.
Sorry, O'Brien.
He's the exception.
I don't know.
Ironically.
I still don't think Keiko
I mean, he
loves
did.
him.
He did. Yeah, he
Oh.
ended up with Keiko. That's not great.
She's Keiko.
She's awful to him.
She's kind of a bitch.
I don't remember much. So
I don't know
I'll
who
just take your
Keiko
word.
is.
She's
so.
O'Brien's wife, and she's not very nice to him a lot of the time. She tries
He's
to
a
call
push-
off their wedding on the day.
That's shitty.
Who does that?
And make Data do it for her.
Yeah,
That's
and
the cruel.
That's
Make the
amazing.
robot who doesn't understand do it.
But yeah, I mean, I don't know if there's more to it than that, but it's just
Yeah.
this idea of like,
It's a hard job.
Yeah,
you know,
I
and
mean-
you're in the vastness of space where
Yeah.
your ship is the closest thing to human, like other humans you have.
yeah,
You're not gonna like very regularly visit other colonies or other places
yeah,
with any regularity or what have you.
yeah.
I remember what episode was it in? The Salt Vampire episode where Uhura is saying, "Oh, I feel like I'm just attached to my comm all the time. I feel like I don't have a personal life anymore." Then she meets her Swahili speaking friend
Yeah,
who just tries to kill her.
yeah, yeah. No, it's. I mean, certainly we've had other characters who are descended from Starfleet people. You know, I mean, even Scotty's girlfriend in Zetar, they mentioned that her parents, at least one of them, was Starfleet. So I mean, Starfleet couples can successfully have personal lives. I mean, isn't Paris actually Starfleet brat?
Yeah, his father's an admiral.
Yeah, there we go. So, I mean, it's possible. It just doesn't seem to be possible for any of our hero characters.
Well, I mean, Ben Sisko has a son.
That's true.
I
But
mean,
even-
it feels like a military family.
Yeah.
You take your military family, you move from base to base, you just kind of bring them with you. They don't
Yeah.
get to.
But
they
even
don't get to
then-
settle down. They
Ben-
change schools all the time.
Ben Sisko's family is presented to us framed immediately in tragedy.
That's true.
You know, like he has a son, but because also his wife dies. It's not a spoiler. It's like the first 5 minutes of the first episode of DS9, we find out his wife is killed.
That's fine.
I shall leave out the details.
Whoops.
I wonder if there's like a correlation between this and like actual military life. Like I wonder if there's an unusually high percentage of like lifelong military servicemen in this country or others in the present day who never get close to other people.
Yeah, I don't know.
Yeah. Well, I mean, also though, you figure, I imagine at least in the military, you're not spending years and years
In outer space.
in outer space.
That's true.
You know, I mean that's.
But it is
Part of the problem.
It is a good question though, because I mean, how many? Because you mentioned lifelong military personnel, and how many of those actually are there? Because obviously the bulk of the military is enlisted, and how many of them keep re-enlisting, and how many eventually are former military? Because I mean, there is certainly, like you said, Ames, the idea of the army brat. You know, the kid who moves from base to base and blah 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 and so on. But I mean, how much does that actually happen, and how much is that like just? So obviously it's a real thing, but it's something that I feel like crops up. It's often used in fiction and television to sort of justify here's why a character shows up for an episode or two, to be sort of a love interest or a friend to the main characters
Yeah.
and then fuck off.
That's unrealistic, though. Most postings are a couple years.
Exactly. It's a bit silly. Or it's to justify, like, you know, a new character who maybe is kind of cool or different or edgy because, like, oh, they're the military kids, so they're not used to making roots, which, again, like you said, sort of belies the fact that in reality they actually do settle in places for bursts at a time.
Well, my cousins were Army brats. Air
That's
Force
true.
brats. So,
I forgot about that.
yeah. I moved over, like, every 3 years.
Yeah.
And it's funny because I remember wondering, like, how they would go when they grew up. I was like, I wonder, like, will they both settle down and find, like, other military people because they're used to the life, or will they, like, remove themselves from it? And actually, both of them, one of them settled in one place and, like, went on to have, like, a normal life the way we sort of have a normal life, and the other one got married to another military person and will presumably
50-50 shot. Huh?
Yeah, it was funny. I just thought it was interesting because I was like, I'm sure like it will be interesting to see how this goes, and then because if it was me, I feel like I would want immediately to find a way to like settle down and like not have to move every 3 years. But again, that's not my lived experience, so what the fuck do I know?
Yeah. And I suppose a lot of it also is just a function of television.
Oh, yeah.
You know, if you've got a character, if they don't have a family from the offing, then that means creating one for them during the course of the show, which means casting a new regular or semi-regular character, remembering to use them every so often.
I know, especially in a show that, you know, doesn't always pull from previous episodes.
Right.
Or have any continuity levels.
Yeah, and so it's hard to, like, sort of work them in an organic way, especially if, like, the other member of the family isn't Starfleet and it's just a civilian, like...
Matera.
Yeah, how do you justify their cropping up semi-regularly, aside from just, here's a scene of Miles having dinner?
Yeah.
And especially in the 60s, I think they were even less worried about that.
I think there is something about being television, because if you think about it, any sort of workplace show where the focus of the show is the workplace, they never really go too deeply into the out of workplace relationships.
True.
Like if there's
They all the coworkers hook up.
Yeah,
Yes.
well, yeah, that
All
happens.
of them.
That's obviously a thing, but you know, and it's sort of the same deal. It's just because I don't think for viewers that's very interesting.
Yeah, for all we know, Uhura's had lots of boyfriends that she's like seen on the ship, and
Yeah.
we certainly know Chekhov has dated, you know, his fair share of ladies.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
who knows?
Yeah, bringing it back to Lights of Zetar, though.
Yeah, sorry, the weird
finally,
tangent.
Oh no, it's a really interesting subject. But in Zetar, we of course have Lieutenant Romaine, who's Scotty's new love interest. And I know Jake noticed while we were watching the episode, this was written by Sherry Lewis and her husband, Sherry Lewis of Lamb Chop fame.
Ugh.
Luckily, this episode had almost nothing to do with Lamb Chop.
And they also did not sing the song that doesn't end.
Oh, that fucking song.
It's now in all of our listeners' heads. Thank you.
Oh, it certainly is.
They're welcome.
But she specifically wanted someone other than Kirk, to get the girl.
Thank you, Sherry Lewis.
The girl.
Thank you.
The girl.
The girl.
The girl.
They did keep calling
The
her
girl.
the girl.
What are you gonna do about that girl over there?
How's the girl doing? Have you checked on the girl? I'm with the girl, sir. Jesus Christ.
She was lost.
I wonder how the girl is doing. Hey, Scotty, how's the girl doing?
Yeah, that's
Well,
a shame she
what's
doesn't get
her
to
fucking
have a
name?
fucking name sometimes.
Lieutenant Lettuce.
She was cool when she started off pretty bitchy.
Yeah, she was a real bitch when, like, Bones is like, hey, I noticed you passed out when we got flashed by those weird floating Christmas lights. How are you doing? Fuck you, I'm fine. Holy shit.
I mean, that, I think, is somewhat justified in that this is her first major deep space mission, and she's just passed out in front of a huge chunk of the command crew. She's probably a little embarrassed and perhaps slightly concerned about her career.
Yeah, but, like, does McCoy outrank her?
Oh, certainly.
Is she sassing someone who is way up the chain? It seems like passing out in front of everyone and then being a tremendous bitch about it is probably not the best way to go.
Yeah,
I guess-
your job, if something has happened to you in some kind of weird phenomenon, is to go to sickbay. That
Yeah.
is the job.
Yeah,
That is required.
That's true. I also feel like the problem is, like, people forget that Doc is an officer. I feel like he's a doctor first to a lot of them, and they sort of forget. It's like, oh yeah, he's got, like, a rank and responsibility, and I have to listen to him.
I like that you're making excuses for her.
Oh no, I just mean in general. I think this is sort of a pattern. People like to try to ignore Doc.
I would never ignore Doc.
Me either.
That sass and
Well,
charm.
because you're both really hoping...
eyes and eyebrows.
You're really,
eyebrow.
so you're really hoping he just orders you to bend over a table.
Oh my.
Yeah, that'd be alright.
Thank you, Caitlin.
Thank you, Ames.
Well, Scotty is very insistent the whole time that she just has space sickness.
Yeah.
She's getting her space legs.
Yeah, you should still report that to fucking the medical officer, Scotty.
Yeah.
Even if it's like, oh, she's feeling nauseous. You report that.
There's a somewhat amusing thing in Enterprise in the first season where the communications officer, you know, she's had the least experience in space of anyone among the, like, main crew, and has to request that her quarters be swapped with somebody else on a different side of the ship. Because her training shift, she was on a certain side, and the stars going in the wrong direction is giving her motion sickness.
That's funny.
That's a good detail. I like that.
Yeah. But this idea of, like, getting your space legs does eventually come up again here and there.
I don't really have a lot on this episode.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know how I didn't... It just kind of happened. Like, I liked poor Scotty finally kind of getting a relationship of sorts.
Yeah, it had a lot of very interesting parts. Like, the storm was interesting of, you know, being a collection of, 100 beings from Zetar.
Yeah, they're...
looking for, like, a vessel to live in, basically.
Yeah, they somehow, their sheer pig-headedness allowed them to survive the destruction of their planet. Which, fuck them. They seemed like assholes. I'm glad their civilization was destroyed.
Yeah, they were monsters.
Yeah, no,
I
clearly.
mean, I don't know, though, if they've been, like, wandering as disembodied spirits for whoever knows how long. They may have turned nasty. They may have been less nasty in life.
Maybe. I don't know.
Well, they can go to, like, I think we had this discussion a while ago in Return to Tomorrow, was they should go find a robot and inhabit the robot,
Yeah.
or they should, you know, go find one of Imud's many concubines, or...
Oh, no, that's a fate worse than death.
They fucking deserve it. There are many ways for them to, like, find themselves a vessel to live in, other than kick poor Romaine out of her body.
Yeah, well,
or suppress her or whatever.
They just try to invade bodies and kill you if you don't let them, because that's why everyone in Memory Alpha died. Because
is that what happened?
Yeah, they mentioned that when they're possessing Romaine and talking through her at the end is like...
Oh, I just assumed it was because they weren't, like, suitable vessels and they didn't work right.
they fought back.
But when the thing swooped onto the Enterprise and it picked Romaine and it, like, went into her, everyone on the bridge had a different reaction to the lights thing.
Yeah.
Like, you know, Chekhov couldn't see, and Uhura couldn't move her hand, and a couple people couldn't mouth words.
Yep.
And some of them
Yeah,
couldn't
Sulu
control
and
their
Kirk
bowels.
couldn't.
Oh, that was unfortunate.
Control my bladder. I can't stop peeing. It was so funny. Ames actually is the originator of that joke, by the way.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
I can never stop peeing.
And Scotty's just over there like, my gosh, I got a boner!
It was totally the light thing!
My goodness, I couldn't control it!
Oh, God.
It's just gone right into the ear of that guy who was sitting in his chair.
Oh, dear.
That's why you don't sit in Scotty's chair.
You never know when his boner will go in your ear. We've all been there. I did like him and Mira. I thought it was kind of cute. I mean,
He was very adorable. It was oddly adorable,
he's
considering, you know, he's usually kind of more powerful than that, I think, but...
he's like a stage 5 clinger.
Yeah.
He hasn't had a relationship in a while, so he, like, keeps, like, grabbing her and shit, and it's just like...
Yeah, there was a lot of touching.
Scott,
Yeah,
just calm down.
awkward touching.
Have some chill, bro. And this is coming from someone who has no chill whatsoever. Like, try a little chill.
It's funny, there's actually, there's a deleted scene from Star Trek Beyond where Scotty mentions that he's having dinner with Lieutenant Romaine.
Why would they delete that?
I don't know.
That sounds like great continuity.
But-
The nerds would love it!
Yeah, so in theory,
No,
somewhere
they would
out
have bitched
there...
about it. You know, they would have bitched about it.
Somewhere out there,
Scotty
there's
has to have a lady friend.
There's a Kelvin timeline Lieutenant Romaine, assuming she survived the movie. Oh, now I've made myself sad. Anyway,
Why would
sorry,
she not
Chris.
have survived the movie?
Which is a lot of people die in that movie.
Oh, that's right.
Got killed.
Yeah.
Aw, poor Scotty.
Maybe that's why they deleted it.
Oh no.
So
you
that
have to
there would
think
be no
about-
question as to whether or not Romaine had lived.
Scotty can't have happiness. The poor
I
thing.
mean, he then, you know, he's got Jayla, though.
Lassie.
Look, at the end of the day, any woman he tries to be with in the Kelvin timeline will be pushed away by Keever, or whatever the hell his name is.
Oh.
His little pet thing.
Keezer? Yeah, it's his friend with the weird eyes.
And the venom
acidic
snots.
snot, yes.
Yeah.
His venom snots? I missed this
He
detail.
has in Star Trek Beyond, he has like some kind of cold and he keeps sneezing on shit and burning holes and things.
Yeah, Scotty's afraid he's going to sneeze on the warp core and cause a breach.
Okay, well, in that case, confine him to quarters.
Yeah. It ends
You're
up playing
sick,
a
you
part
stay in
this
bed.
plot. Anyway, back to the original timeline.
Yeah. Yeah, I feel like... Yeah, I agree. There was... It was an interesting episode, but there was a lot of filler. Like, there was like a 5-minute riveting button-pushing scene.
A lengthy investigation in the boardroom. Whenever they have to resort to one of those, you know there's been trouble.
Oh, no.
And thank goodness, though, that during that lengthy investigation, you know, the lights respectfully kept their distance. Like, no, we understand. You have to pad the episode. We'll wait here.
Yeah, someone called up and being like, "Oh, we're still." I think it was Sulu saying, "We're still floating. We're still driving around. Yep, keep going. It's fine."
Like, and then when it is narratively convenient, sir, it's breaking orbit or whatever. It's moving closer. Something. It's like, oh, time for the story to kick in again. Go. Like, it wasn't bad, but it didn't. You know, it wasn't awful, it wasn't great. It was decent. It wasn't meh.
What did you think, Jake?
I was kind of indifferent to it.
Yeah?
Yeah, I mean, there wasn't... It felt, like I said in the intro, it felt kind of like a mashup between other episodes that we'd seen before, because it tread a lot of the same ground. I mean, really, the only new piece to it was giving Scotty a girlfriend, which, you know, that's nice.
And we'll never see her again.
And we'll never see her again, so not that nice.
What was nice was it seemed reciprocal this time.
Yeah.
Like, unlike in the Apollo episode,
where
he
she
was
really
just,
wasn't
like,
into it.
lusting after her forever,
True.
and she was just kind of like, okay, I'm gonna cheat on you with Apollo now, bye.
It wasn't cheating because she wasn't really.
No,
with him.
she wasn't.
And like, there's even whole scenes where everyone else is like,
Poor
Scotty
Scotty.
just doesn't get it.
Is it possible that Scotty is just taking advantage of this poor young woman because it's her first time in space and he's playing the "I'll show you around, kid" move?
Well, yeah, it's totally possible, but I don't want to believe that of Scotty.
I don't think he's willingly. I don't think he's knowingly doing
Intentionally,
that. I think
yeah.
he thinks he's being a nice guy. We all know
Like
about
a
nice
fedora
guys.
wearing nice guys?
Yeah.
Milady.
I mean, I'd like to think their meeting happened a little more organically just because there's really no reason he should be the one showing her around. She's a scientist, he's engineering, like...
Yeah, I feel like there may have been... I may have like noted something that she was originally supposed to be like his new ensign or something. His new, like, assistant.
Really?
And that would have made it
that would've made it
clearer
really-
why she would follow him around.
But also
Yeah, no.
make it a lot creepier.
Oh.
You know, it's
Yeah.
definitely better that she
Fucking
became
the
a scientist.
secretary is not cool.
Yeah, no,
I
I'm
mean,
glad. That was a good change.
Cool, but it's not okay.
Ooh. Hi, puss.
Meow, meow, meow. Oh, we did have Return of the Pressure Chamber, which was
Yeah,
fun.
I think our
Sure.
third or fourth appearance of it in all these years.
Yeah, what was the theory there? Like, there's aliens inside of her, so we're gonna
Squeeze them out
Yeah.
like juice from an orange.
Yeah.
And it worked!
We're gonna make
toothpaste
lemonade
on
out of the
tubes.
lemons that life has
They
handed us
hate
today.
being squeezed. They hate hugs. These aliens hate being hugged.
We could move through solid matter until right now when we are crushed to death. What?
Yeah, that was odd.
It's a little weird.
The resolution was strange.
Well, at least it's better than the days when there are no resolutions.
It's true. But yeah,
Of course, the resolution is they were just crushed to death, and then what? They disappeared in there. They vanished. They're gone now.
they turn into diamonds.
She'll poop them out at some point.
Yeah.
That is a
They
spot.
turn into kidney stones.
Oh.
She'll have to pass.
Actually, I bet.
I'm sure Doc got a pill for that.
No, not even
Almost
that.
certainly.
You know what? In the future, they just beam them out of you.
Smart.
That's a good point.
You probably just go in. You're
But
like,
you have to remain perfectly still. Or else
they
you
have
the.
they have a thing for that. I'm sure. They
Not
probably,
conscious.
yeah. They just hold you
Tom
down.
just hypo you.
Or maybe that it's a 2-part thing. You get a hypo, which somehow highlights. You know, medicine goes into the stones that sort of highlights into the transporter, so they can be a little more imprecise.
Pew pew.
You know, it's fine. But yeah, I'm sure they just transport them right out of you. Not even a big deal.
Interesting.
That or they just shoot you full of some kind of nanites that break them down and you piss them out later.
Maybe. Or maybe they just have diets or whatever that prevent them from forming in the
Yeah,
first place.
yeah, that's true. That's true.
Well, but most of the people get kidney stones because they don't drink enough water, right?
I think that's
Some people
part
just
of
have a
it.
predisposition to them too.
Oh, fair enough.
But yeah, I mean, but maybe there's probably some other way to prevent it with medicine, I'm sure, in the future.
Yeah.
I mean, if Doc can regrow a
Taking
kidney with a
vitamins.
pill, I'm sure. I've got something.
I mean, nobody has to wear glasses except for Kirk.
Yeah, anyone else who's
When does
allergic?
Kirk wear glasses?
Star Trek 2.
Star Trek 2.
He's allergic to Retinax.
Oh, okay. Well, at least there's a reason.
But you're telling me that they don't have a workaround for that as well.
Maybe
Apparently
Retinax is relatively
Apparently
new.
they don't have LASIK either. Like,
Well, because it's like The Simpsons told us in that one episode, we eventually realized that, 10 years later, your eyes fall out.
I did always think LASIK was horrifying.
it is a horrifying idea.
Doubly so now.
You know who I bet loves getting kidney stones? Assuming they can.
What?
Klingons.
Ugh.
It's probably like a huge rite of passage for them, like
Ugh.
getting through them without screaming too much. It's like, Claw! Yes, Doctor. You have kidney stones. Yes! Mm! It's a big public display. You go up. It's like, I'm passing mine today. Watch me not tear up like a child.
What the fuck?
They probably go out of their way to get that shit.
I haven't had a glass of water for weeks.
You just,
I
I mean,
have
there's
no
that's
idea.
one way to get into Stovocore.
So, I don't know, we're sort of meandering a little. Ames, you seemed eager to be cross at Requiem for Methuselah.
Requiem for Methuselah is absurd. And here's many reasons why. Let me list to you the lives that Flint admits to that he's had.
Da, 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 da. Oh, sorry.
What's that?
It's doing like a Requiem-y sound.
Oh. So he admits to being Leonardo da Vinci.
Mm-hmm.
He admits to being Brahms, the composer. King Solomon.
Sure.
Alexander the Great. Lazarus. Methuselah, characters from the Bible who probably were just freaking stories. Merlin the magician, which is unusual.
Definitely a real person.
We also
Totally real and a magician.
We all know the Seventh Doctor was Merlin, but
Well, you know what it is about Merlin, though? I feel like there's... Sorry to interrupt you.
Oh, no, go ahead.
But I feel like there's a shocking number of people who don't realize that Arthur is not actually a historic figure.
that's true. Sadly,
That's
Well,
fine.
he's in that. There's a new Arthur movie with the guy from Sons of Anarchy on it.
yeah.
Yeah, so he admits he
Or TV show, not movie.
met Moses,
Yeah.
Socrates, and Galileo.
Yeah.
For one guy, out of all the fucking people on Earth, he knew and met too many famous people. That's too many. That's way too many people.
Well,
to
maybe
look at.
he's just, maybe it's a situation where because he is so aged and so knowledgeable and smart that wherever he is, he's just doing.
He's always in the right place at the right time.
Well, no, I mean maybe it's the right place and right time because he's there.
Yeah. That makes sense.
Alternately, he didn't say
Dislike.
when he
Like maybe
met
he's
them.
like hanging out at a bar and some guy's like, I think I could sail around the world, and he's like, oh really, Mr. Galilee, eh?
What?
Oh no, Magellan sailed around the world.
Yeah, I was gonna say. Wrong one.
Okay,
Galileo figured out that the sun was the center of the universe, maybe?
Yeah. Well, I had Merlin and Galileo.
There's a lot going on.
And then I went Magellan.
There's a lot going
because-
on in this episode.
But yeah, the thing he doesn't mention when he knew them, so it could be they were already well known. And he was like, I want to meet these people.
I don't know.
And
I mean, getting at those times, it was not easy. Like just getting around. Like, oh, if I'm in fucking Methuselah land, because Methuselah lived like 900 years, because the Bible thought that was a thing that could happen. Oh, I'm gonna just go check out where Merlin is up in Britain or wherever the fuck.
Yeah. I mean, I guess although if this man managed to always be at the center of art and culture,
I don't know.
he would.
I'm very dubious.
There's no reason to assume he wouldn't have been in Italy during the Renaissance. Wouldn't be banging around Central Europe during like the Baroque era and all that.
Well, plus he was hundreds of other names you might not have heard.
Yeah.
So who knows who else he was? He could have been.
I'm telling you, the motherfucker was Hitler and just didn't tell him because
Yeah.
he was like, "Oh, that one didn't go over well."
No, Spock would have loved it.
Yeah, he doesn't.
Spock would have been
he
like,
doesn't
tell
know
me
that.
more.
Yeah, really. Spock was already like.
Spock was
Yeah.
like playing the piano. He's like, this is a previously unknown Wagner.
I was gonna say
Boing, yoing, yoing, yoing.
Spock already had a pretty tremendous boner for this guy, so I think if
He
he said
admitted
he
to
was
feeling
Hitler, he probably
almost feeling envy.
Well, that's because he thought that this guy owned all these amazing treasures when in fact he was all of those treasures.
Yeah, which I mean, fucking hell.
And like, why would I feel like I had seen this episode many years ago, and I seem to have remembered it being more about Flint.
Yeah.
Than about Kirk and the girl.
Yeah, all of the Flint stuff comes up literally in the last, 5 minutes?
Yeah, I mean, it's
Pretty
like
much,
hinted
yeah.
at throughout.
Yeah, so you're really waiting for the reveal to come far earlier.
Yeah.
I didn't even catch on to the reveal. I figured he just, because he was so old, he had collected things.
Yeah, see, I knew
much
about the
Doctor Who.
reveal because I don't know if Chris and Caitlin have seen The Man from Earth, which is a 2000 Earth. Welcome to Earth.
Welcome to
The Man from Earth.
I'm not familiar.
Yeah, it's a 2007
Terrible
movie. Friends of mine really, really love it. Jake and I watched it last night in preparation for talking about it today. Terrible. But it's only about the old man character. In fact, the character's name is John Oldman.
Any
that
relation to
thinking.
Gary Oldman?
And like the movie,
Brothers.
I'm just going to talk about this movie for a little bit.
Yeah, do it.
So it's filmed. It looks like it's filmed on a camcorder.
Good,
Ooh.
good.
Like the quality of the taping is not good.
The music's terrible.
The music's terrible.
Oh,
the
so
lighting
bad,
is
so
bad. The casting though, so it has the guy that played Phlox in
a weird
Enterprise
role.
is in it.
Huh.
The guy that plays Kern and also old Jake Sisko is in it, and the guy that played Bataille in The Inner Light was in it. So it's
The old guy.
Inner Light.
It's the one where Picard gets hit by a
Oh, with the
probe.
flute.
Yeah, with the flute. So it's got a bunch of Trek actors in it.
That's funny.
And it was also written by this Trek author, this writer,
Yeah.
the guy that wrote
Jerome Bixby.
Bixby, who wrote this episode, also wrote this movie.
So this was really an idea he wants to explore in a big way.
But the movie is so poorly made. Like it. It's like one of those movies.
Give us the gist, Jake.
So the gist is, here's the brief synopsis.
Too late.
So, suck it. So the idea is that this guy is a college professor, and he's having a going away party at his cabin with all of his other college professor friends because he's leaving the university and never going to be seen again. They're never going to see him again. They have this big blowout at his cabin. So they all show up, and then he's like, "Hey, listen. So I want to tell you guys something. You know, you've noticed that I never age, and I've worked here for 10 years, and I look the same as I did when I started. Well..."
Oh, he's awfully vain, thinking they've noticed.
Well, no, somebody mentions it.
You haven't aged a day.
And then, like, somebody finds, like, "Oh, you have this ancient artifact. Where'd you get this?" He's like, "I got it at a thrift store." And then someone else is like, "Here's a book on cavemen."
Yeah, he's got a Van Gogh, I think, too.
Oh, yeah, he's got a Van Gogh. Someone's like, "Oh, that's a nice Van Gogh painting that you own."
That's a nice thing.
That he's just going to get thrown into the bed of his truck, too. Like, not even covered or anything. So, and then he's like, "Well, you've noticed all this weird shit about me, so let me tell you what. I was born somewhere around 14,000 years ago. I'm a caveman, and I aged to about 35.
I'm supposed to stop aging at 30.
And I've been living I've been living since then at this age."
Yeah.
And so every 10 years or so, when people start to realize it's weird that I haven't aged, I have to move on and start a new life.
And I tell them all my story.
Well, he says that this is the first time he's told everyone.
Yeah, sure. Yeah.
So, of course,
it's my first time. He's just trying to make them feel special.
You never forget
They think
your
he's
first
full of
time.
shit, naturally. And then the movie is really just his college professor friends trying to gotcha him.
Yeah, they just grill him for an hour and a half.
And, like, he's got an answer for everything, and everything's a moralizing bullshit, and, it's boring. It's just a boring thing. And then...
Yes.
And then...
Yes.
They're like... So they're like, "Oh, have you ever been anybody, that we would have heard of before? Like, anybody, you mentioned that you studied with the Buddha. Were you anybody from, like, religious history that we would know?" And he's like, "Well, there was this time when I was trying to teach the Romans and the Jews about Buddha, so I became a teacher, and the Romans didn't really go for it, so they crucified me.
You are not
And then they
Jesus.
put me in a tomb, but of course I didn't die, so
You
I had to
are
leave
not
the
Jesus.
tomb in the middle of the night a couple days later. And my friends, they saw me as I was leaving, and I had to make up some shit about ascending to the Father. So,
Are you really
so I just
Jesus?
went. Then I went to Europe. It's like, and like, of course, there's, and they, of course, like everybody, all the other characters in this film, it might have been called John Oldman and the Strawman, because everybody else there.
That sounds like a good band.
Yeah.
It does.
Because everybody else there was like purposely designed to have some issue with the thing he was talking about.
Just like Plato's
out
Republic.
of personal problems. Like this woman that was super religious and believes the literal Bible.
What you're saying is blasphemy.
Yeah, like lays
God,
into him. Like,
I
you
hate
can't
her.
be Jesus.
Oh, she was the worst.
And I'm going to spoil the ending because it's not worth not spoiling the ending.
Do it.
Because you shouldn't watch this movie.
Well, and also 10 years is probably long enough to...
Yeah. So they invite over the other professors who are like, man, John's really lost it. We should call over that psych professor who's this other guy. So they call over the psych professor who flips his shit and pulls a gun on him and is like, yeah, you really think you're fucking old? You don't know shit. You don't know shit, motherfucker. And then he leaves, and then they're like, oh, yeah, the reason he's so upset is because his wife died yesterday. And everyone's like, oh, why the fuck did you invite him over? Jesus.
Yeah, Jesus, you have some explaining
Yeah,
to do.
why did you invite him over, Jesus? So anyway, the angry guy comes back later, and he's like, oh, I'm sorry, went off the handle. It's
I'm
been
sorry
a
I
rough-
pointed a gun at
Yeah,
you.
it's been a rough couple days.
Thanks
My
for
wife
not calling the
died.
police.
And then in the end of the movie, he's like, finally John Oldman is like, you know what, guys, you're right. It was all just a thought experiment. I was just trying to see how far I could take it, and I took it a little too far. And everyone's like, good one, John. That you're an asshole, but we still love you. See ya. And everyone leaves, and it's left with him and his girlfriend and the old guy that pulled the gun on him. And the old guy is about to leave, and the girl's like, I know you weren't lying, so just get, I know you're just saying that for them. And he's like, yeah, And she's like, have you had any other punny names? Like, right now you're John Oldman. And then he's like, yes, when I was about 60 years ago, when I was in Boston, my name was John Boston Tea Party.
John T. Party.
John T. Party, like the Boston Tea Party. What?
That's a bad pun.
It was
That's
a
not
terrible
the
pun.
end of the movie?
No,
well,
wait for it.
and then the old psychology professor, the guy that pulled the gun on him, comes out and is like, wait, Party? My father was a professor in Boston named John T. Party. What? And then he hugs him and is like, it's okay. Why? And he's like, why did you leave, Daddy? And he's like, I left because people were noticing that I never got older. And then the old guy drops dead.
What? Jesus.
And that's the end of the movie.
See, that the one saving grace is that, there was a mention of, if an old man, you've lived so long that you don't really have new experiences anymore. The one thing I thought was interesting was this is the first time he's seen one of his children die.
Yeah, whatever.
Still,
profound.
Requiem for Methuselah, infinitely better to that trash.
So, first of all, if I ever leave my job in such a way that I'm leaving the place I work completely and not just going to a different section or something, I'm totally pulling that. I'm just sitting down.
You're gonna wave a gun around?
I'm actually-
You're gonna be
coworkers?
like, I know you've noticed that I haven't been aging, and everyone's like, what?
You lost a shitload of hair, dickhead.
Oh, poor babe.
But yeah, it's like,
Selective shaving, people.
it's like
Oh.
Pete Campbell in that one season of Mad Men. They wanted to make it look like he was losing his hair. So, fuck, joke aside. Oh yeah, that whole thing, every 10 years, look, I've worked in my office for just shy of 10 years now.
Yikes.
And, yeah.
That's old, isn't it? You feel old?
A little.
Yeah.
And, people I work with there, for example, the guy who was my first supervisor, he's still there, but I'm in a different position. The only indication he has gotten older is his hair has gone from sort of, mostly dark with a little white to mostly gray with a little dark. So, if he had simply dyed his hair, he would look exactly the same to me. And a lot of the other staff, again, aside from very minor things, some of them don't look at all different. 10 years
But 10 years is one thing, but you couldn't stick around for 20 years.
No, but I just think, like, saying, so in 10 years, like, no one looks that different over the course of 10 years,
Yeah,
unless, like...
12 to 15 years, maybe.
Yeah, but 10 years, it's like, I'm thinking of people I've known that long, and it's like, not seeing a huge difference.
I bet if you looked at pictures, you would see it.
Sure.
Yeah, but most people aren't looking
That's
at
what I mean,
pictures.
like, most people aren't gonna do that. You know, they're going to mostly think, like, they look more or less, you know.
Yeah, it's really the... I was actually literally Jesus. That's like, oh... Fuck you.
Even if he'd just been one of the apostles, that would have been a little less ridiculous.
Even then, but it spurred this really annoying, repetitive, like, just blah discussion with the religious lady, who's like, oh, God works in mysterious ways. You can't be Jesus.
But God works in mysterious ways.
Apparently.
Also, how is that guy a caveman, and now he just looks like a Homo sapien?
Well, that's the thing. Well, because he was...
He shaved.
Cro-Magnon, so
Oh,
they're technically
okay.
the same species.
Sure.
But what I don't get, right, is if he's... Maybe I don't know a lot about ancient anthropology, but I didn't think there were any white people 14,000 years ago.
That's a good question.
Like,
I don't know.
My impression was that was something that came
Later.
After the Ice Ages, when people started moving into Europe.
I have no idea. I don't even know when the Ice Ages were.
If anyone listening does know answers to that, please, for the love of God, tell us on our Facebook page, A Star to Steer Her By.
Yeah, I mean, I don't. Maybe I don't. Like I said,
I don't know either. That's a thing.
Was anybody else, like, super creeped out by the fact that this guy wanted to totally bone this robot that he was pretending to...
Well, he made a robot. Of course he wants to bone it.
Well, I just
mean,
You
mean...
think the guy that invented the fleshlight doesn't use
No,
it?
it's just that, like...
This is for educational purposes only. What are you people doing?
In the beginning, he was like, oh yeah, I raised her from babyhood, and...
Well, that was just a cover for...
I know, but, like, if you're gonna be actively trying to bang her, maybe don't say that.
Well, he wasn't planning on trying to actively bang her in front of them, but
We
then...
don't know.
Does she know she's a robot until they tell her?
She
later?
doesn't seem to, no.
Yeah. Because I was otherwise going to say, like, why not just say, oh, this is my robot lady fuck puppet.
Fuck puppet.
Wow.
Yikes.
Teach her love for me, please, Kirk. Damn it, Kirk. You are not a magical cock.
Apparently, listen, it's not his fault. He's not writing the scripts. Well, eventually. He
Oh
writes
my god,
the
that's
scripts,
what
but-
it is. All those trips across the galactic barrier, we keep saying no one's gotten powers. They gave Kirk his magical cock.
Wow.
And every trip through strengthens it.
That's right.
How many women has he taught to love now? It's too many.
Too many.
Too many.
Too fucking many. Especially because I don't think he knows what love is.
I want to know what love is.
Wow. You
I
gotta
I
look
want
that up
her
quick.
to show me.
I want Kirk to bone me.
Wow.
Neat.
Yeah, this episode left me pretty cold. I loved the little robot friend.
Yeah, the little Nomad Junior.
M4,
M4.
M4. We're
Baby
pretty
Nomad.
sure that his bottom half was Nomad's head turned upside down.
Yep.
There was a colander involved.
Yeah.
I don't know about that.
So Nomad's head has got around.
It
because
has.
He was also
Part
the
of a
Romulan
cloaking device.
Yeah.
Yep.
Good for Nomad. I do love Nomad.
Yeah, good if he's still getting work. Didn't get typecast.
Yes.
Sure, he was in an episode of Gilligan's Island at some point.
As a coconut.
Yeah, I was telling Ames the other day, there's other podcast I listen to. It's called The Skeptic's Guide to the Universe. And it's like a skeptical...
Guide to the universe?
Yes. It's great.
It's a
I mean,
debunking,
if you're
show.
into like rational thought, it's well worth checking out.
Mythbusters, the podcast.
Yeah, but they just really talk. It's a talk podcast. But anyway, so it's good. But
You
one
can't
of
blow
the
things
segments,
up.
I was going to say,
I
I'm
was just
glad to hear
thinking,
it's
man.
not an exploding
one of the
podcast.
segments that they do on it every now and again is they play a random sound clip that somebody sends in, and the challenge is by next week's episode you're supposed to email them to guess what it is. And a couple weeks ago, and I always listen to them delayed, so it's like this is from several weeks ago probably at this point. They're like, okay, well, what's on the Guess the Noise segment? And and like the second it started talking, it was like this unit is perfect. And I was like, I know who that is! It's my old friend, the Nomad!
Yay!
Aww. Nomad the chastity robot
Like,
who
that
doesn't want Chica to get fucked.
Yes, that's right. The chastity
Lena.
robot.
Yeah,
That
way
was
to
pretty
go.
funny.
Dot Matrix.
Yeah, even better was even Spock has to tell Kirk, stop thinking about the lady. We have a fucking job to do. People are dying of Rigelian fever.
Yeah, literally.
And you're just dancing a waltz with this chick.
Like, it literally kills motherfuckers within 24 hours, they said. Like,
They just spend
There
a
needs to be some
lot
urgency.
of time, like, having drinks,
Yep.
playing pool, dancing.
they got 5 more hours. Let them sweat for a while.
Yeah, I guess they did have to wait for the medicine to get made. And then why was the medicine poison the first time?
It wasn't poison, it was inert.
Oh.
Because of some random element.
Was that
was
something
in it.
that they did intentionally? That
It sounds like that Methuselah there might have slipped it in, yeah.
damn
what,
it.
to prolong them until Chica learns how to love?
Exactly. yeah.
Oh, she hasn't figured out kissing yet. Nomad, take your time.
We're never gonna get to blowjobs at this rate. Son of a bitch.
So, speaking of Spock and all that, let's talk about the only sort of, not interesting, because it was horrifying, part of the episode.
Interesting, horrifying?
His completely fucking with Kirk's mind at the end, without Kirk knowing.
Oh my god, yeah, that was
Oh,
weird.
yeah.
That did not need to be in the episode.
Nope,
They
nope.
could have just ended it and not done that.
Yeah.
But
Spock's
so-
a bit of a mind rapist.
Explanation is that at the end of the episode, Kirk, who, as we recall, has overcome magical love tears and basically has
Miramani, his
Miramani
wife, his
has
pregnant dead wife. Ooh.
has managed to fall out of love with every woman he's ever met, even if the last time they saw each other was 3 years, 2 months, and some odd number of days ago. This fucking robot, who, first of all, he has to be in total denial about. In the end, he's like, no, she's human! She understands love! She must be human! And it's like, no, she's not. She's still a fucking robot,
You're just
Kirk.
justifying wanting to bang her.
And that's fine. That's okay. If you're into robo love, girl, get it. But like, let's not be in denial, Kirk. Okay.
Yeah.
The hair plugs and the girdle shirt, the shirtle, are enough. We don't need to also decide that this robot's a
Oof.
person.
Hey,
Anyway,
we're telling it like it is.
he is so in love with the perfect woman that Galilei over here has come up with that he's like in a depression and he can't get over it and he's sleeping with his head on his
He
desk.
fell asleep at his
but
desk.
But have you seen those knockers?
No, she had great tits. She had great everything, and her dress was really
Yeah.
nice.
And she
I
was
liked it.
smart.
She
Her
was
hair
awesome.
was brilliant.
Great
Yeah.
hair.
Loved
She
her
had
hair.
nice skin. She was just
She was beautiful.
very attractive.
was.
woman.
Played
She
a
was
great
gorgeous.
game of billiards.
Yeah.
Oh, I loved that bit of like gender role reversal where she's like, "Let me teach you how to play billiards," because it's always guys like macking
Leaning,
on women
yeah.
like, "Here,
That's
let
true.
me show
That was
you how
pretty
to
good.
hold the cue." I kind of liked
Well,
that.
that's why Kirk fell in love with her. He's never been handled by a woman like that.
So he's so in love with her that after she dies from being too in love with him, he's so in such a deep level of mourning that it would be much better if he could just forget her. And Spock mind melds his way in to make him forget.
Yep.
I presume
Oh,
just
God.
make him sort of forget his feelings as opposed to the whole mission. Otherwise, people are going to notice that something's wrong.
Oh my.
Who really knows?
Like, presumably he just sort of
That's
dulled.
between Spock and not Kirk, because Kirk doesn't remember.
Yeah. Well, and the worst part is, like, it's this whole, Doc gives this whole, like, it's a poorly written, but Doc does it very well, because he's Doc.
Oh, I love him.
Speech about how, like, Spock, you'll never know the little joys and the losses and this and that. It's like,
The joyous victories and the
yeah, it's a speech. It's a really good speech that comes kind of out of nowhere and feels a little forced in the episode, but DeForest Kelley delivers it really well.
obviously.
And it kind of almost looked like, I was sort of just hoping it was going to be a nice, sweet, quiet moment where maybe, because Kirk has just fallen asleep at his desk, maybe Spock's going to, like, grab a blanket or something, put over his shoulders.
Aww.
Or something really sweet like that. Spock at least understands love as friendship. But instead, it's just like, gonna scramble your brain.
Well,
and you're
and
just like, oh!
I had actually wondered initially, too, when he reached out for the mind meld, if instead of erasing the memory, he was going to try to feel it. Because he was like, fucking Doc, I'll show him. I'm
Yeah.
going to know what it's like. You know what I mean?
I want to know what love
Yeah, but
is.
not Kirk. You don't want to know what Kirk's love
No,
is.
that's
Kirk's
true.
love is kind of weird.
Held me.
Yeah,
Wait,
but
what
that
did you
was...
say, Caitlin?
Listen, it's covered in herpes.
But yeah, no, that bit was really, like, especially because I thought it was going to be something really sort of sweet and gentle, and instead it became horrifying.
Yeah, it's kind of dark.
Also, what a fucking hypocrite being all bitchy because Doc hypoed him the other week. This seems a lot worse. This is like a fucking violation of everything. I mean...
Yeah, no, it's really screwed up.
I mean, mind-melding in general is pretty violating.
Oh, incredibly, but at least
most of the time people consent to it, you know?
Yeah, usually it's for a good purpose. This is... It's unclear. It's a weird gray area.
I mean, the problem is I think Spock... No, not even going there.
Oh.
Go there.
Like, I don't want to make it sound like I'm at all defending his actions.
All right.
Like, clearly he means well.
Yeah.
But he could not have gone about it worse if he tried.
Yep.
Well, I mean, that's the thing. Like,
I'm beating him to death.
That would have been better.
Fisheye lens.
Yes.
I have no doubt that his heart was in the right place, and I think it's...
No, it's where his liver's supposed to be.
Fair. For a Vulcan, his heart's in the right place. Actually, that's a good question. Is his heart in a wrong place for a Vulcan and a human because he's kind of both? What a weird jumble of shit that would be.
Maybe
It's in his butt.
Or in his testicles.
And his testicles are behind his knee.
His testicles beat.
Not everyone keeps their
no.
genitals in the same place.
Is that from
true.
5?
That's
Six.
Okay. But but I also
What?
just think
That's an actual line in one
I
of the
just
movies.
kicked him in the knee. What's his problem? Not all species keep their genitals in the same place.
Oh, dear. I
Yeah.
thought 6 was supposed to be a good one.
Oh,
It is
it's
other-
not. It's not
otherwise.
great. It's okay.
Oh, that's
it's
weird.
alright.
Very
It's
good. It's
alright.
weird.
I don't really love 6, but
I like 6.
I also don't remember anything about 6. But I
6 is
feel like
good.
I didn't like it.
It's also
lot.
got a good mind meld rape scene.
Yikes!
Good?
Like actual rape or
Well, I won't spoil it, but Spock has to literally suck the thoughts out of somebody who's unwilling to give up the goods.
what the fuck, dude? Spock
This
is
is
a
gonna be
fuck.
fun.
But yeah, I to get away from all of that.
Yeah.
I feel like the problem is because like Spock doesn't understand what it is to be human. That like maybe he like doesn't even really see what he's done as being bad. Like maybe he sees it very black and white. Like if
logical.
Well, yeah,
if
it's
X
logical.
then Y.
If
You know?
the captain can't function well because he's haunted by this thought, then it is my responsibility as his friend and first officer to, cure him of that.
It's still just
Oh yeah, it's
goddamn.
Yeah, it's not good. Spock should have known better.
He definitely should have. He has a
And
human
it
mother.
won't
if
ever be
nothing else.
addressed
No.
naturally because this is episodic television.
Oh yeah, no.
Well, and I mean, Kirk may never know what happened to him ever.
No.
Ugh.
So here's my theory then. So sometime after the events of Lights of Zetar, Girl breaks
Scotty's
heart, and Spock mind melds the pain away, and that's why we never hear of that relationship again.
This goes back to our earlier discussion. It's all come full circle. They're all perfectly happy because every time their heart is broken, Spock just...
Is Spock happy?
He doesn't need to be. He's a Vulcan.
That's true.
Spock feeds on the sad feelings of others, so every time he does it, it just makes him feel.
He's
better.
like the pinwheel monster from Day of the Dove, only with sad.
Yes.
Yes, exactly.
Yes.
There was one great little bit out of Requiem for Methuselah where Flint somehow takes the Enterprise and makes a tiny little 3-foot model on his desk, but everyone inside is frozen, so when Kirk looks in and you see a giant Kirk on the view screen.
It was hilarious.
But the really sad thing is like no one on the bridge is like animate, they're all
or
like
reacting.
frozen.
Yeah, it's too bad.
So they can't see.
Yeah, no, it would be kind of great to just see Scotty be like, what the fuck? When he saw Kirk's giant eyes.
Ooh.
Where the fuck? Like, I know he's been everywhere, but where did he get that technology? That's some high-end
Yeah,
shit.
that was-
He's
a little
Merlin, dude. He doesn't need tech. He's got magic. What are you even asking these questions for?
Yeah, you're right. It was a
Yeah.
stupid question.
Seriously, no, it wasn't. It was a
Stupid
good
question for a stupid episode.
Well, I mean, in some ways, going back to the comparison with the Man from Earth, that's one thing that the Man from Earth did a little better, I'd say, is that they didn't make him Superman. They didn't give him superpowers
Yeah.
or super intelligence or super strength.
He just had more time.
He just had more time and
had been Jesus.
and had been Jesus. Whereas in this show, like, for some reason, Flint was
Crazy strong.
crazy strong, crazy smart, had super magical abilities.
Could build robots.
The best robots.
Like, they actually say in The Man from Earth, one of the lines that I think Kern says, the actor that plays Kern, I should say, says something like, "Oh, he can't, no matter what, he can't be better than the best of humanity, right? Whereas Flint evidently is just a superhuman, period.
Yeah.
He owns this planet.
Yep.
And the Enterprise says, "Oh well, we need whatever fucking chemicals to make
The cure.
the cure for disease." They go down there thinking it's uninhabited, and he's got a shield that says it's uninhabited. But he had purchased this planet as a different identity of himself. How did the fucking Starfleet not have this planet marked like, oh, this is so and so's planet, he owns it?
Crazy old Maurice.
Maybe
Lives in the woods, writes novels every couple of years.
Always good for a laugh.
Yeah.
Why
I
does he
don't know.
need a giant fucking castle for him and his fuck puppets?
Lots of different places to fuck. Duh.
He's got a lot of crap he's collected over the years, and he ain't throwing out any of it.
Like,
That's
he's
actually
just a
probably
hoarder that
legit.
has the money for a big enough house.
before he built the Love Dolls, he definitely had sex with Mark IV, M4, right?
Oh, totally.
Aw, poor Nomad.
Like, that's why M4 got upset.
Oh man,
It
you're
was
right.
because he was jealous of the girl. He's like, I want.
That's the love story I want. The
He
love
loves
between
me.
M4 and
Flint.
Flint.
Yeah.
It's a love story we all want, really.
Yeah.
I want to know what love is.
Also, I want to give you pasta.
And her name was Chopek, right?
Yes, or Cop. It was the reverse of Chopek because there was like a C where the K should be or some shit.
No. But it was
But
definitely a reference to Karl
yes,
Čapek.
It certainly was.
Who, if you do not know who Karl Čapek he was the Czech playwright who invented the word robot.
Here's a question. Why does Spock know what Brahms' handwriting looks like? Did we ask this yet?
Why do
Because Spock knows
tricorders?
everything.
Why are tricorders able to analyze art to see if they're
An original Da Vinci.
using the same brushstrokes that Da Vinci once
Oh,
did?
this canvas was made more recently than it would have been in Da Vinci's time.
Well, that
Good
I would
for you.
actually buy. It being able to tell like how old something was, but I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, that you could tell, but like knowing that the handwriting was Brahms, like, really?
And that one, if the computer known that, okay, sure, Because
Spock's a musical historian.
Apparently, he's a musical historian and knows a lot about Native American arrowheads.
Well, he does play instruments, so
Apparently,
it sort of
yeah.
makes sense.
Yeah, he
Well,
plays,
we've
like,
seen
the
him with
lyre.
the
Well, that's the
piano.
thing. He
Apparently,
suddenly plays the piano. That's new.
Well, I mean,
I really wish there's an episode somewhere he just busts out into a mad sax solo.
yes.
It's like, great. Him
A
and maybe when he
yakety
was
sax solo.
when him and Riker meet in TNG, it's like, the trombone. Truly one of the most dulcet instruments in the galaxy. I, however, prefer... I know, that's the real shame, because he would have busted out his alto sax, and they would have
True.
gotten down Yanni style. Well, before we sign off, we've got a bit of a project we're going to be doing.
Surprise!
Supplies.
And I guess, Ames, you want to sort of explain it?
Not really, but I could. So, seeing as we'll be wrapping up TOS pretty soon. We only got a couple episodes left at this point.
Pretty.
Yeah, really. It's only like, what, 4 or 5 more actual episodes, isn't it?
We got
4.
Yeah, we got
Yeah.
2.
3. This is episode 38.
36.
Oh.
Oh, yeah. Wait, is it? Oh, it is 38. Yeah, so 3 episodes left.
Our episodes or Star Trek episodes?
Our episodes.
Oh, okay. 5 TOS episodes.
Yes.
then.
Yeah.
Yes. And we wanted to close out TOS with a little project. And since the 4 of us dabble in writing every so often, we wanted to do a little fanfic. I don't know what we'll write yet, so we wanted to give ourselves some prompts. So what we did is we took the principal crew of the original series, put all their names in a hat, and then we put a whole bunch of random characters, people we've all liked throughout the series or had a connection to, or just thought would be funny to bring up again, put them in another hat, and we're gonna pick and see what people we're gonna put in our stories.
So are we going to reveal them as we draw them?
Yeah,
Yes.
let's reveal them as we draw them, because I
Okay.
think we can have some fun with this.
All right, Ames, you go first.
Oh man, I get to go first.
Ladies first,
Which
bitch.
one's good?
Not that one.
This one's
No,
good.
not that one.
So these
Did
are.
you fold the McCoy one a special way so you'd know?
I did all the folding.
You bitch.
No, I folded the first one, but the first one was
First Kirk, yeah. I folded
All right.
all the others.
All right. So these are the crew members. So my first crew member is Spock. Sorry, Jake. I know you love him. Get it,
I
Caitlin?
totally wanted to write a story about him visiting Nazi Germany.
All right, here we
Wait,
go.
it's already happened.
I got Uhura.
Sweet. Get it, Jake. Get it.
Right.
But don't get McCoy because we'll kill you.
Chapel.
Ah.
Nice. Hey, sexy ladies.
Who you got,
I
Chris?
don't know. I'm afraid if I got McCoy, you'll just both murder me. Oh, thank God, Sulu.
Oh, that's a good one too. All right, I'll let Caitlin do the next one.
What? Why me? You?
Oh, we just go
We'll
in
just
a
keep
circle?
going in order.
All right, we'll go in a
Yeah.
circle. All right. It's no more fair than not fair.
It's a
Yeah,
circle,
all
Kirk.
random.
All right,
Circle Kirk.
Thank you.
here we go. And my other one is Chekhov.
Yes.
Spock and Chekhov.
That
We're
actually
gonna go on an
makes,
adventure.
that makes a fair amount of sense, though. They do kind of hang out together.
They do. They do.
All right. One less chance for glory. Oh, I got Kirk.
Oh no.
Kirk
One
and
of us is
Uhura.
getting McCoy.
Who
Bastards.
will it be now? Scotty.
Chris, you monster!
I got McCoy and Sulu.
Oh, you got a good
I got
draw.
Scotty and Chapel. Interesting.
That is interesting. I have no idea where you can
maybe
go with
they'll
that.
have a little relationship.
So now, explain to me, this part a little vague on. Are we just taking one from
I think two.
Let's do two, and also let them have some fun together. I don't know what they'll
Now,
do.
to explain, whereas we only had 8 crew, we did the principals plus Chapel to make it 8, so we each have 2. With the extras, we did, I think, 16. So there's more in the hat than we can possibly draw.
Yeah, we'll pick 2 each, and let's see who we've got. Here's one. It jumped out at me, so it must really want me, and it is a sentient cloud.
Yes!
Nice.
Any sentient
Well,
cloud
because
that
remember,
you choose.
that can be also like the Guardian or whatever she was called.
It
and
could even be
shit.
the Lights of Zetar.
I got Finnegan.
Yes!
Yes!
I fucked myself. Is
You
what
got
I'm
Kirk,
saying.
though. You got Kirk and Finnegan.
Oh my
So
God,
that
it's
works.
perfect.
That's great.
That is good.
Like, I can't imagine having Finnegan with anybody but
That's
Kirk.
true. That's true.
Tidy, tidy, tidy.
I get Rand.
Oh, you lucky bastard.
Chapel and Rand.
I get the ladies. I got Scotty.
Oh, you
Oh,
did.
yes, it's late as night. Oh, man, Scotty's finally going to get that relationship
Oh,
he
I
wanted.
got 2.
With which one?
Just
All
get
of
off, there we
them.
go.
Oh, my God, you could write it like it's a dating sim.
Oh no.
I've got Apollo.
Ooh.
Nice. I'm a little jelly, to be honest.
With Sulu.
Ooh.
And McCoy.
And McCoy.
Oh, my.
Oh, sexy. You got a sexy pile there, Chris.
I'm going to misuse it horribly by your perspective, I'm sure.
All right, I got a second one. Let's see who else I've got. Yeoman Martha Landon.
Nice.
And Chekhov. Yay, they go together.
Nice!
Oh, is that his girlfriend?
From
That
at
was
the
his
apple.
little
The
girlfriend.
only good part of the apple, Yeoman Rant Landon.
Oh, I'm
The
happy
two
they
of
get to
them
be together.
making out in the Garden of Eden. All right, here we go. Cyrano Jones.
Nice.
Oh, no.
What a bizarre set.
Yeah, no, I'm sad. Well, Cyrano Jones is the one who gives the tribble to Uhura.
Because he knows.
And Isis.
Yay, the cat.
Oh, man.
Do you think you'll want her to be a cat or a lady, Jake?
Doesn't matter. I mean, she just meows the whole time anyway, whether or not she is.
And our last draw for me.
Oh no, you're gonna get in trouble.
Did you get fucking Trelane as well? Did you get McCoy and Trelane?
I might have.
You got the best fucking pile, Chris.
Son of a bitch.
Ooh, Apollo, Trelane, McCoy, and Sulu.
Yeah.
You got the sexiest draw ever.
Sorry, love.
I am very upset.
All right, and now because I've honestly forgotten some of them, let's see who didn't get used.
Sorry, everybody here. We picked you because we loved you, and
Baylock,
oh, he was a good one.
Is that a
Harcourt Fenton Mudd,
Clint Howard.
Clint Howard, right? Yeah, I know who Mudd is, obviously.
Shauna,
Nah.
Nah.
the Green Line Lady Gaga, number 1 from The Cage,
Michelle Barrett.
Yep.
The Gorn,
Punch.
Ruck,
All right,
Ruck.
I miss you, Ruck.
everyone's favorite lip syncer,
He was great. There were a lot of good lip syncers in the show.
and of course, Khan!
Oh, that's a fucking shame to have no con.
And Jem from the Empath.
Oh, that's also too bad. I love Jem.
So yes, look forward to those at some point.
Yeah, after the series.
So
is
what is
concluded.
the? So tell me again. What are we actually writing.
Let's
Well,
write a fanfic of your choice
and let's-
inspired by your
But
characters.
It
Let's
does not
say-
have to be erotic.
It doesn't
You
have
said
to be
there was gonna
ball
be a
slapping
prompt.
porn.
These are the prompts.
No, these are the prompts.
Oh.
I would say that we should aim for a minimum of 1,000 words.
A maximum of under half an hour long.
Yeah, like
1,000 words. That's like twice as many as 500 words.
that's actually
It's
completely
true.
true. It's only like 2.5 pages. It's really not bad. I always say that I'm going to write really ball slapping porn, and I never do. And I feel like I don't want to do that to poor Ahura.
I mean, she doesn't have to be involved in the porn.
Finnegan, though.
Yeah,
Can
Kirk
we-
and Finnegan should probably finally fuck. They
Touch
should
dicks.
definitely touch dicks. Ahura will be like, touch dicks!
Are gender swaps acceptable?
Ooh.
That's a good
I
question.
I'd
see why
say
not.
whatever you want to do.
I mean, shit.
That's such bullshit. You got the best draw, Chris.
I'm very sorry.
No, I look forward
I always can't wait to
hearing
read
what
it.
you think.
I mean, the problem is I'm not going to do anything erotic with it, so.
Whatever. I can dream it.
So, with that.
Wait a second, Ames. Your handwriting looks just like Brahms.
Dun dun dun. And I mean that. I'm playing that on the piano right now. Dun dun dun.
So with that has been episode 38 of A Star to Steer Her By. Interestingly, perhaps one of our more intellectually driven episodes where we discussed major themes while not touching on the episodes much. Normally when we don't touch on the episodes much, we're just making fart jokes.
Cock and balls, fart, 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 fart.
So I feel
Cock
like
and
this
balls,
was...
Cock and balls, vagina, and a butt. Cock...
So I feel like in a way this is perhaps one of our finest moments until right then.
Poop, poop, butthole, poop.
Do please find and like our Facebook page, A Star to Steer Her By. We are on both Twitter and Tumblr as SSHB Podcast. Please subscribe to us on your favorite podcasting application. And if you use iTunes, please give us a rating and a review and forgive the noise from the cats in the background.
Shart, 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 shart.
For A Star to Steer Her By, this is Chris.
This has been Ames.
This has been Caitlin.
And this is always Jake.
Thank you for listening.
Be sure to tip your yeoman.
The one thing none of the treks after TNG have is a memorable theme.
TNG's theme is so good, though.
And even that isn't really... that's recycled. It's the theme to the motion picture.
I don't feel like I know that theme at all.
And then it's...
Da 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 da.
Oh,
Da 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 da. The Enterprise theme was infamous.
I was actually thinking that. I was like, wasn't there one that was really fucking bad? You guys always go on.
road.
Getting from there to here.
So 90s, guys.
I spent my long time, but my time is finally here.
What the fuck is that voice?
That's me trying to sound like the jackass that sings that abysmal song.
Okay,
Wait,
well...
what years were Enterprise?
2001 to 2005.
It sounds like that's late enough that they should know better than that.
Well, the thing I think too is it wasn't even written for Enterprise. It was written for some movie from years before, and they just got the rights to cover it and use it.
Oof, wow.
Yeah, no, it's a terrible song. Terrible, terrible.